My name is Deb, and welcome to the Sensible Stitcher podcast. I would like to welcome anybody who's new, and for anybody who came here and watched episode 1, thank you. I think there were 3 views on it last time I looked at it, but I'm doing this for me, so we'll see. If anybody comes over and likes it, great. If not, then we'll see. I'll just keep doing it as long as I'm finding it fun. I think it's a really good record of what I'm working on and what's in my shop and everything. So so far it's been fun. I have a few things to talk about in this episode. It's been 2 weeks. Today is October 5th, 2021, and I have finished object to talk to you about, some works in progress, an update in my Etsy shop, and then just some life stuff. So that's on the agenda for today. First, let's start off with finished objects. I have, going out of reach of everything on my little cutting table over here. I think last time I had showed you the first couple of these Halloween bees that I had worked on. These are a crochet amigurumi project, and I have made 5 now altogether. And so I think I'm going to quit here, but I like them kind of as a set. So this is the candy corn bee right here, and then pumpkin bee. She's got the orange. I believe this is the witch bee in the purple. I think that's one of the ones I had already made before. And then we have the skeleton bee, black and white. And then finally, I think this is the zombie bee. I think the green one is zombie or monster bee. I'm not sure. I don't think I can hold all these little guys up at the same time. Maybe. Take 2 hands to do it, kind of. So there's all the bees. They were fun to make. They're all pretty much the same other than the colors. They're all identical other than the colors. So they were a lot of fun to make. And I think next I'm going to look for a Christmassy project like that to do. I usually make something as gifts for people, either knitting or sewing. I've done things in the past. One year, my kids and I made paracord candy canes. It was like a macrame type project that I had done. I had made them years ago with my mom growing up, and we figured out how to make them again and made those. So I always do something crafty as little gifts for people. So I figure it'll be some sort of amigurumi thing this year now that I know how to do that. That's the only thing I finished. I'm counting it as finished because I'm not going to make any more of the bees, but works in progress are pretty much the same also. I am working on the Optica sweater by Isabel Kramer. And I believe last time I was ready to split for the sleeves, but I had not done so. And I have now done so. And not much beyond that. So you can kind of see here where it's split. And I think I've done like 3 rows past that. So it's getting there. I have not tried it on yet, but just kind of holding it up. I think it's going to fit. I think something I did not talk about last time is that I'm alternating skeins, so that made this a little bit interesting with splitting for the sleeves. I did keep out one of the skeins that I was working on to kind of, when I start going back into the sleeves, to use for both sleeves, and then started a new skein here so that it won't be a completely new skein when I start working on the sleeves. So again, there, that's the Optica, and it's got this kind of nice little design there down the raglan sleeve increases, and then it'll have a design down near the bottom when I get that far. So at this point, I'll just be working my way down the body of that. I gotta find a bigger bag to put it in pretty soon here. Okay, then I have made some headway also on the socks that I showed you last time. These are the vanilla socks, but the yarn is Uneek, Uneek. by Urth, U-R-T-H. And it's made to go, I don't have a picture. The yarn is self-striping, but it goes in, like it doesn't repeat. So each section doesn't repeat. So there's this section here, then it moves to this blue section, and then this green section, and then there'll be a red section, and that's the last section. You can kind of see I have both heels in now, and I'm working my way up the leg. So I knit my socks toe up. I did not do any color management here. I thought about it, but because of the way the yarn works and these don't repeat, there really wasn't a way for me to get back. Like I couldn't get back to a certain point in the repeat. So it actually turned out kind of interesting. This is just where it naturally fell when I stopped for the heel, this one row of the blue. And then when I picked back up, it ended with one row of the green, which you'll see here. So this is where I started working on the heel. This is a German short row heel by Mina Phillip of Knitting Expat Designs. This is her heel design that I use. So this is, working my way down the heel and then back up the heel. You can see where it started switching here from the blue to the green, and then keep going up the green here. So you can kind of see there, that's where it joined back in the round. So again, these are pretty easy. They're just vanilla socks, working my way up the leg. I didn't mention last time either, I have wide feet and I don't like tight socks. So I tend to knit my socks on a size 1 needle, and I knit either 76 or 80 stitches. I know that's a lot compared to what a lot of people knit, but I'm a tight knitter. So this is the gauge, at my gauge, that's what works best for me. So these are 80 stitches, 40 on each side. And yeah, like I said, they're moving along. Hopefully the next time I talk to you in a couple of weeks, they will be done. So now the next thing, it's something I briefly referenced last week, but I didn't have it here to show you. So I went and grabbed it this time. These are another pair of vanilla socks. I'm keeping them in my purse, so I don't work on them very often, but I did get a chance to work on them last night at my daughter's band practice. So this is, oh goodness, West Yorkshire Spinners. They're birds colorways, country birds, and this is the one from last year that was their Christmas colorway called Robin. So I haven't even gotten a full repeat into this yet. Again, toe up socks, 80 stitches on the needles, and I think these are also size 1s. Yes. Every so often I'll go down to a 0 if it's a really thin yarn, but I've knit with West Yorkshire Spinners yarn before, so I know that I knit those on a 1. Not really much else to say about these. I've finally finished the toe increases, and I'm just barely starting to work my way up the foot. So those live in my purse, and they'll get worked on when they get worked on. All right, that is it for the knitting. At some point I'll talk about what I'm looking at knitting next, kind of a future knitting segment, but I haven't really thought that much about it yet. I don't want to start another sweater until I've got this one, if not done, at least mostly done. I've already got 2 pairs of socks on the needles. I'm not the kind of person who has a ton of UFOs at once. If I get more than 3 or 4 things on the needles, I start making me nervous. So 3, I'm good with the 3 that I have right now. And then once one of them gets close to being done, I'll start thinking about what I want to make next. In terms of sewing in the shop, I did finish the bags that I showed you that were almost done last time, these little candy corn bags, and these are in my simple sock bag design. Just the very small squishable little bag that you can put a skein of sock yarn in and a sock project, and then use the little cord lock there to close it up, and the little tab to attach it to whatever you want to attach it to or not. So these are in the shop. One has already sold. I think there's 2 left. I think I made 3 of these. Then I used the same fabric and made a couple of my zipper bags. So these are the ones that, let's open that up a little bit here. These are just a standard wedge bag with a handle so that it could go around your wrist if you need to, or you could just carry it as you're going. It has a zipper, and then I make for each of my zippered bags a little zipper pull, or you could, it's got a lobster clasp on here, so you could pull it off and use it as a progress keeper if you need to. And I coordinate each one to the bag. I was looking for some sort of a candy corn charm, which I could not find, so I just used little beads in the colors of candy corn to make those. And on the inside, it's got the same black polka dot fabric with the orange, or black fabric with the orange polka dots. What I have started doing on these zippered bags recently is adding a zippered pocket on the inside. And so this one, the interior of that zippered pocket is orange with the black zipper. So you have, this bag is a good size to put, I can put a 2 at a time sock project in here very easily. And even a hat project I've put in the size bag. Even though I call it my small sock bag, it's definitely bigger than the drawstring, than these bags. Okay, so there are 2 of these in the shop. I don't make bags in large quantities at once, at least so far I haven't. I just make generally 2 at a time. For these smaller ones, maybe 3 or 4. And then I move on to a different design. If I ever had a reason to, I could make a bunch in one fabric, but I kind of make them just because I like making them, so that's what's always worked out. And then the other thing that I've added in the shop over the last couple of weeks, I was sick a week ago, so I didn't get a ton of sewing done, but I added in some notions pouches, 2 of these that match some bags that I had put in the shop previously. I finally got the pouches done, so these would hold like credit cards, change, knitting or crocheting notions. And again, they have a little loop, and I send them out with a little key ring on there as well when I ship them. And then this one is kind of the fall harvest. I have other bags with this fabric in the shop as well, so I just kind of use the scrap fabric to make these little pouches, and it's got the autumn leaf design on the inside. So there's 2 of each of those in the shop. And then these are not quite done, but I have 2 of these that I am working on. Again, the simple sock size with the autumn and pumpkin scarecrow. I think he's really cute, little scarecrow made out of pumpkins. But 2 of these will be in the shop. They are done. They just need to be top stitched and have the drawstring put in. And it's got fabric on the inside is the kind of gold with the little pumpkin design on it there. And then I also will be making 2 of the zippered bags out of these designs as well, the autumn with the pumpkin. So you can expect to see those in the shop probably in the next week or 2 also. So that is it for everything I'm working on or have finished in the last couple of weeks. Again, I was sick. I'll get a little more into that in a minute, but still, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm still working on getting over being sick. So I kind of thought about what other segments I wanted to put in here to talk about, and I know a lot of podcasters talk about what they're reading, and I am a huge reader, so I thought I would incorporate that into this show as well. I guess a little bit of background, I was the kid in school who always had my nose in a book. that's probably what, if you ask anybody who went to school with me, that's probably what they would tell you, if they even noticed me at all, because I was reading before class, I was reading after class, I was reading, if I could have gotten away with reading during class, I would have always read up until I had kids. And then the reading kind of went by the wayside for about a decade, a little more. I kind of, early 2000s there, did not read much at all other than, you know, parenting magazines and how-to books. And reading to my kids, of course. All three of my kids love to read. My middle daughter is a huge reader as well, so she and I talk books a lot. At this point, I get most of my book recommendations from her. She worked at Barnes & Noble before she went to school this past last month, so she was in the know on all the good things coming out, and she and I kind of have a similar style of books that we like. We like the fantasy series. I do read a lot of young adult because, hey, it's good. I'll pretty much try reading anything, but I like the fantasy, I like some young adult, I like historical fiction, I like memoirs and some biographies. I like some nonfiction, like if it's historical nonfiction, written well, but otherwise, some mysteries, some not really much into romances, some, depending on the books. But like I said, I'll kind of read between genres, but right now, at least, it's a lot of fantasy and young adult. I have several bookshelves downstairs that are full of books that I used to collect. Nowadays, I read ebooks on my phone. I like that better. Pros and cons. I like having the books. I like being able to physically look at them on the shelves. I like being able to, you know, kind of scroll as I'm looking for something to read. I love the covers. But I do not like the space that they take up. I do not like that they get dusty and musty smelling. And I do not like having to carry a book around with me, because I always have a book with me wherever I go. And I do not like having to carry a hardcover or a paperback book. I also do not like having to, it's harder for me, especially as I've gotten older, to hold a paperback or a hardcover open with one hand. Whereas if I'm reading on my phone, it's with me wherever I go anyway. It doesn't matter how much light I have, I can hold it in one hand. And it took a little while for me to get used to the smaller screen. I mean, I up the font size so I can still see the text. Keep upping it a little more as I get older as well, but yeah, the smaller screen took a little while to get used to. But now that I don't even notice how many times I'm turning pages, because you're just, you know, tapping to turn a page. I don't even notice that anymore. So I read everything on ebook. Even books that I have physical copies of, I like to try and find ebooks of. So there's some things that I would like to reread that I own that I haven't, just because I can't find an ebook of them. All that kind of leading me to say, what I'm reading right now is a series that I own a lot of the physical books of. I started reading it, oh geez, I don't think it goes back to high school, definitely college, by Mercedes Lackey, her Valdemar series. I don't know if anybody's familiar with those. There's many trilogies. She's written many books, and actually some of them I had never read before, because like I said, when I had kids, I kind of stopped reading there for a while. So the ones I'm reading now I went through and reread them, starting with the ones I'd already read, and now I'm reading some of the new ones that I hadn't read before. And I think I've got 1 or 2 more trilogies left until I'm caught up and I've read everything again. I do like to reread things. When I go into a fantasy world, I want to live there for a while. So live there for a while. So I like when you have a prolific author who writes about the same world a lot, like Anne McCaffrey, Mercedes Lackey, Catherine Kurtz. I always liked her books. I know I'm dating myself here with some of these. In any case, currently I'm reading the Family Spies trilogy of Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar books. Some of these newer books, I don't enjoy them as much as the older books. I don't think they're quite as well written, but I'm still enjoying being immersed in that world, and that's why I like to read to begin with. So I'm definitely enjoying them for that reason. And I have also heard that I think they're going to be making a series out of the one of the trilogies as well, so I'm excited to see that next year. The other book that I'm reading is one that Hannah, my daughter, suggested. It's called A Reaper at the Gates, and it's the second novel in the An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabah Tahir. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And the links to all of these will be in the show notes. But it's a good series. I think there's 4 books in total, and I'm on book 2. I kind of go back and forth depending on what my mood is. These take a little more mental capacity to read. When I was sick, I was reading the Valdemar books because, again, a lot of them I'd either already read or they're a little, I don't want to say light necessarily, but they definitely don't take as much mental work to read. So that's everything that I am currently reading. I've referenced a couple times that I was sick. I've been sick twice, all last year with COVID, mask wearing, whatever. I did not get sick. This year, for whatever reason, I have been sick 2 or 3 times with just upper respiratory things, not COVID. I've been tested each time, and it has not been COVID. This time I did go into the doctor, and he felt it was either, after he listened to my lungs, he felt it was either COVID or pneumonia. He did not like the way my lungs sounded. But COVID test came back negative. The chest x-ray came back fine. So probably just some sort of virus that I'm still working on getting out of my system. Doing a few other things. He wants me to go back in for some blood work in a couple of weeks. And I also went in today to the sleep department to talk to them. I do use a CPAP. I have sleep apnea. Runs in my family. My dad had severe sleep apnea. I don't know if my mom was ever diagnosed, but she likely did as well. I've had sleep issues my entire life, and so the CPAP machine did not help as much as I thought it would, and as much as I was told it probably should. My husband also has one, and it has helped him tremendously. It has not helped me as much. So the doctor took a look at the initial sleep study that had been done for me at a different medical system back then, and she looked at the output from my CPAP machine, and basically what she came up with is that she wants to do another sleep study. The one I had done before was a home sleep study, so I attached all the stuff to myself and just slept at home. She wants to do one in the sleep lab, and then she wants to start it off with no intervention, no CPAP or anything, and see what that shows. And then halfway through the night, introduce CPAP and possibly even BiPAP and see if that helps. Hopefully, whatever comes out of this, I can start getting some better sleep and some better quality sleep, because no matter how much sleep I get, I'm always tired. So that's what's going on with that. Family-wise, we're doing well. The older kids are settling into college. I've talked to them both a couple of times. Classes seem to be going pretty well. It's hard to tell in college. You only have a few grades, and they haven't gotten to midterms yet. But they both are enjoying their classes. They each have one class that they're not as happy with. Happens to be a math class for both of them. They both like math. They're both good at math. I guess I shouldn't say it. They're both good at math. Neither of them really likes math. They did when they were younger, but now as they've gotten into the higher calculus classes and such, they don't enjoy it so much anymore. But Hannah's math class, I think, is really interesting. It's primitive navigation. So she's learning how to navigate by the stars and using a compass. And I think she likes the class. She didn't realize there would be quite so much math in it, but it does meet one of the math requirements that she needs to have for school. I think this is the last math class she'll ever take need to take, because she is not in a program that requires math at all. She's an English major, and she took calculus, both calculus AB and BC in high school, and has AP credit for both of those. So she will be done with math after this class, and I think she'll be very glad. Finn is taking their last math class that they'll need, and they have a friend in the class, which I think is really helping in this case. They've kind of struggled a little bit with the other math classes, which calculus at the University of Michigan is notoriously difficult. So I'm proud that they've been able to do as well as they have done with the math classes there, but hopefully they'll be able to start getting more into their major related classes now that they're in their third year of school. Finn is in climate science and meteorology in the engineering department at the University of Michigan. So yeah. Then my youngest is a sophomore in high school, Becca. She's doing well also. We are in the midst, or I guess the beginning of marching band competition season. So they finished their show. They put the entire show on the field at practice on Saturday, which was very cool to see. The band director got very emotional, not having been able to do a show last year. So finally seeing, the fruits of their hard work and being able to see the show from beginning to end on the field. So this weekend they have their first competition, which also happens to be the invitational that our school hosts. So it won't count for them. They'll be in, since it's our invitational, they'll be exhibition only, but they still will get to perform and show off what they've been doing, and they'll be in full uniform and everything. So that will be cool to see. I will be helping out at the invitational like I do every year. And then the next, I think 4 or 5, I think every Saturday from now through November 6th is band competitions. I like band competitions. I like to go early and watch all the bands and see all the shows. And that's one of my favorite things about being a band parent. The state finals this year at Ford Field in Detroit happened to fall on my birthday, November 6th. So for my birthday, I'll get to go and watch our band perform and cheer them on. And yeah, that'll be exciting. I think that weekend also happens to be Parents Weekend at the University of Michigan. So I think we're kind of going to incorporate not a full Parents Weekend visit, but we'll try to get together with the older kids maybe on Sunday of that weekend and see them, celebrate my birthday. So yeah, I think that will be a busy but fun weekend coming up then. But until then, marching band every weekend. Cool. Like I said, I like watching the bands. So that is what fall is about for me right now. Hopefully I will not get sick again. That's fingers crossed that I will stay healthy. So I think that's about it for this week. Well, 2 weeks, I guess. I'm going to try to do this every 2 weeks. So it will be I think today's the 5th. I can see my calendar over there. On or about the 19th, 20th will be the next episode. So I will hopefully have some more projects to show you, some knitting, some crochet, some sewing, and yeah, we'll see. So I hope all of you have any of you, the 1 or 2 of you who might be watching this, I hope you have a good couple of weeks, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.